Good afternoon and welcome, fellow Toastmasters, and currently in absentia to our area director, Ajay, who's going to join us shortly. As we embark on this, our second meeting of 2021, it's crazy to think that we're already almost a 12th of the way through the year. Now, we're all here to help fulfill the club mission, which is this. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. This is a collective endeavor and a collective responsibility. In order to help us in our mission, we set some simple ground rules to improve the experience for everyone. And those are, please stay muted whilst others are speaking. Please do turn your camera on, especially when you're speaking. Refrain as ever from topics such as sex, religion, and politics. And please remember to focus on the meeting and not on the cornucopia of distractions that your computer is sure to tempt you with. We each carry many responsibilities with us in life. These responsibilities are not always clear, and often we just muddle along as best as we can. Thankfully, our responsibilities in Toastmasters are perhaps rather more clear. I'm pleased to join you guys today as we seek to improve ourselves and to help others to do the same. And with that in mind, I would like to hand over to our presiding officer and president, the man who it has been rumored brings light to the club officers, Toastmaster Hind.
Thank you, Mr. SAA. Good morning, Phil. Good afternoon, Indians. How are we doing? All right, everybody's doing good. That is great. It is very encouraging to see today's roster. Not to spoil our TMoD's fun, but this meeting is one in. I think this is the first time in a long time when we'll have two speeches. I don't remember any time during lockdown or during online meetings that we have had two speeches. So it is very encouraging to see that. One thought that often crosses my mind is, why is Toastmasters important? And that question does not come by itself. It comes with a dozen other questions that stem from it. I'd like to share one of them with you today. That question is, I work with a bunch of people. I'm not an island. I work with a bunch of people. I interact with people on a regular basis. Why is it that I cannot reflect on my own words? I cannot reflect on my own actions and improve. I attend so many online meetings. I talk to people sometimes in person as well. So why is it that I cannot record those meetings of mine and I can understand how to improve myself at my own standards? My standards being, I want to be rather clear in my words. I would like to have my thoughts better arranged. Why would I not do it? To that, my answer is itself a question. And that's a question that I would urge all of you to ask to yourself. Would you do it? Would you take the effort? Would you find the time in your busy day to put efforts into making yourself better at something that does not give you immediate result or immediate dopamine in any which way? Would you do that? And at least for myself, the answer to that is a resounding no. I would not. Toastmasters work if you want it to. And Toastmasters works because it provides you a platform where there are people urging you to take risks. There are people who are applauding you on your efforts, and there are people who are ready to provide you with tough love and give you actionable feedback. And I think that's why it works. But without any further ado, let me invite somebody who's going to set the stage for today's meeting and take you through our proceedings, take you through the journey that we are going to have today with our icebreakers and our rest of the speakers. Please welcome to our screens our host, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sumedh.
Thank you, Presiding Officer Hind. I'd like to begin with a story. 16 long months ago, before the pandemic. So let me just set the screen right now. All right. Okay. So 16 long months ago, when we were all in office, working, not working, sitting in the cafeteria, drinking coffee, whatever we used to do. I got a call from one of my uncles who lived in a land far, far away. And he said, Sumedh, I'm in town. I just want to meet you. So I said, all right, that's fine. Relatives, you need to keep appearances up. So I'll be there. And we went to a hotel. We had a posh dinner. And then my uncle took it upon himself to lecture me about the topic, the theme of today, responsibility. For some reason, he just felt that he had to give me his muft ka gyan, to put it in that way. So I was listening to him go on, and he understood that I was phasing most of it out. Well, let's be honest, all of it out. So then he gave me an example. He said, Sumedh, do you know Harry S. Truman, the president of the ex-president of United States? He once said that in his office, the Oval Office, there are no corners. Do you know what he meant? I said, no. It's a vague reference to bring up to a niece, but that's all right. Go ahead, uncle. Uh, and he said, that means that you cannot hide away from your responsibilities because there are no corners, there are no shadows where you can hide. Now, what did you make of this, Sumedh? What is it? How are you going to use this phrase in your life? And he was asking me with that grin that uncles have once they think they have you on the spot. And I said, all right, I don't think I'll be using this because my office has got a lot of corners to hide in. Actually, we have got a secret passage where we all sit and don't do our jobs. The responsibilities don't exist there. We call it the cafeteria. The next time you visit, I'll surely take you there. And that is the last I ever heard of him. The man is a genius, and somehow he's as quirky as he always was. But which brings me to the point I've been wondering ever since, what is responsibility as a subject? And therefore I thought that it would be a very good theme to have in Toastmasters, because this is where we speak about stuff, right? So that's our responsibility here. We have to come up and speak. And while we do so, there will be a few people, judgmental people, I might add, who will sit down and evaluate us for how we speak and the way we do it, and then provide their evaluations on the same. For this meet, however, we have got a specialized team to do that. To introduce them, I would like to call upon the general evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Shreya. Toastmaster Shreya, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sumedh. Can I start by saying that judgmental is a sort of strong word to be used? We are not going to be judging you. Hopefully, we are just going to be aiding you in your path to betterment. Just like how Sumedh said, and even, if you've seen the poster, you would know that the word responsibility, it sort of has a negative tone somehow, doesn't it? Like the moment you hear the word responsibility, you're like, oh, all my energy is drained. Why? I for one do feel that it has been dissed on a lot, because I think responsibility is what makes us better, is what makes us improve. I mean, look at today. We're all here gathered in this meeting because each of us has a responsibility here, whether it is the responsibility we have put on ourselves or whether it is something that the club has put on you. And this presence here today and in all the meetings that we've attended so far is what is leading us to our growth. So I think that there are two sides to every coin, there's a positive side as well, which we can imbibe. But yeah, you can call me the person who just looks at a glass empty also as a glass half full. So coming to my responsibility today, I am the general evaluator. That means that I evaluate the whole meeting from even before it started to the end, and hopefully give some helpful pointers as to how we can improve. To give a more elaborate evaluation today, we have with us the tag team. Without any further delay, let me start by handing the mantle over to the timer, Srinivasan, to explain more about his role. Srinivasan, take it away.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I am Srinivasan and I am the timer of the day. My job here is to make sure that the meeting goes smoothly according to the agenda and especially on time. We have two icebreaker speeches followed by table topics in the agenda today. To ensure that all the speakers are notified of the time they have taken and whatever the time they have left in their available slot, I will be showing my milestone cards for the speeches. So for the prepared speech, I will be showing the below milestone cards. So for the icebreaker speech, we have the duration from 4 to 6 minutes. So at the end of 4 minutes, I'll be showing a green card like this. And at the end of 5 minutes, I'll be showing a yellow card like this. And at the end of 6 minutes, I'll be showing a red card. So, and we also have the table topic sessions scheduled today. So for each of the table topic speech, we have 1 to 2 minutes allotted for each speaker. So at the end of 1 minute, I'll be showing a green card. At the end of 1.5 minutes, I'll be showing a yellow card. And at the end of 2 minutes, I'll be showing a red card. Hopefully, we all stick to our times and keep ourselves dynamic to ensure that we are able to cover whatever things we have in mind within the time limit we have. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Shreya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinivasan, for a concise explanation of the role. Moving on to the next role, we have the AhCounter today, which is essayed by Toastmaster Navjot. Toastmaster Navjot, please take it away.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. Good morning and good afternoon. I'm one of the members of the judgmental jury here. So my role as an AhCounter is to listen carefully to everyone and look out for the crutch words, filler words, and repetitive words. The crutch words include filler words includes and, will, you know, etc. I will be presenting my report at the end of the speech. I would like to share a tip that might help you to minimize the uses of crutch words. Whenever you feel you are about to use a crutch word, just close your mouth, take a brief pause, gather your words, and continue with the speech. I hope this tip helps you with the minimal use of crutch words. Over to you, Toastmaster Shreya. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Navjot, for that great tip. Without any delay, I'd like to call the last member of the tag team, the Grammarian Toastmaster Phil, to come and explain about his role today. Toastmaster Phil.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. As the grammarian today, it's my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any misuses of the English language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, and thoughts. And I must confess, I'm already struggling with this, but I'm going to do my absolute best to fulfill my responsibilities. It's also my duty to introduce the word of the day. And for today, the word I've chosen is alacrity, which means with speed and eagerness. An example use of alacrity would be, she accepted the invitation with alacrity. I'm going to post those into the chat now.
Is it, I didn't, did Phil finish? Did you finish?
Yes, apologies.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the answer. All right. Thank you so much, Phil, for explaining your role with alacrity. Without any further delay, let me hand the mantle back to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sumedh. We will be presenting our hopefully helpful report at the end of the speeches today. Back to you, Toastmaster Sumedh.
Looking forward to that, G. Shreya. Now that's it from the introduction side. So it's that time of the day. May I have your attention, please? Today we have two icebreaker speeches, and I'm really eager to find out more about these two gentlemen who will be presenting their speeches today. They joined us recently, and we look forward to start. They look forward to start their path here with us in the Toastmaster journey, and we look forward to be a part of that journey. But before we go to the speeches directly, I'd like to introduce the evaluator for the first speech. Toastmaster Arjun, do you want to come up and explain your role in evaluating Toastmaster Hillol?
Good afternoon, everyone. It takes me great pleasure to evaluate Hillol's icebreaker speech. as I see that he has also taken the same pathway as myself, which is engaging humor. I hope he does a great job. The criteria for my evaluation would be to evaluate the speaker as well as his content. So for the content, I look at the structure of the speech, how he begins the speech and how he ends the speech, and whether the flow is maintained throughout as he transitions from one phase to another. When it comes to the speaker, I would look at his use of gestures, the fact that he's able to maintain eye contact with the camera, and his usage of grammar, his comfort with the audience, and how he engages the people in the room so that his content reaches out to everyone. With all these aspects, I hope and I wish him all the best for his first speech, because this icebreaker is the moment when you go off the mark in your Toastmasters journey. Looking forward to it with alacrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arjun. Before we start off with the speech, I just wanted to ask all of you a question. How many of us here have actually set out to explore new towns? Have you ever left your comfort zone and gone to a surrounding place just to explore? Oh, all right. I see most of the hands up. Well, then I think you'll enjoy what is about to come. Toastmaster Hillol today will be presenting his icebreaker speech. The title of the speech is Exploring a New Town. Exploring a New Town, Toastmaster Hillol, Exploring a New Town.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumedh. When I was given the slot to give a speech, I was thinking, what should I speak about? And I found that this is something which is really close to my heart, and I really want to share this with you guys. So I guess one thing which we are missing the most during this pandemic time, this is traveling. So how many of you guys really like traveling in general? How many? A lot of people, I see. And how many of you like to visit unconventional places? By conventional places, I mean the famous tourist spot like Bangkok or even Las Vegas, or even some towns in India like Shimla or Ooty, which are famous. And by unconventional means just select some new town and just explore the place. It's just your excitement and your enthusiasm that you carry with you, and you enjoy the journey. So this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to take you to one of the remotest part of India. This is Silchar. Eventually, this is my hometown. It's in Assam. I guess most of you guys have not heard of this town. Anybody who has heard of this town before? Silchar, Silchar. Silchar, Assam. Oh, there is one guy, Sumedh, who knows it. Well, from Dublin, I don't even expect you guys to have heard of this. Anyway, so this is present in Assam, which is in beautiful northeastern part of India. And this town is present in the southernmost part of Assam. And this is just 30 kilometers away from Indo-Bangladesh border. And let me give you a disclaimer. This is not a tourist place. This is not a standard tourist place. So whatever I say, you won't find it in any blog. It's just from my perspective. There are certain things about my town which I like the most. First of all, it is situated in the bank of a river called Borak. And this is eventually a tributary of the famous Brahmaputra river, which flows in northeast India. Although this is a plain, this town is situated in plain. This is not a hilly place, but it is surrounded by hills in all the direction. So in one direction, you see the hills of Assam. That's a small hill station quite close to our place, Haflong. So you see hills in one side. This is hills of Assam. In another side, hills of Meghalaya, beautiful hills of Meghalaya. In another side, you see hills of Mizoram. Another side, hills of Manipur, and another side, small hills of Tripura. So basically, this is a center which connects all these remote states of India. So if you want to visit any of the states like Tripura, Mizoram, Meghalaya, by road, then definitely you have to step into my hometown. So this brings me to the first most beautiful thing about my hometown. If you travel hardly 10 to 20 kilometers out of, in the outskirt of the town, you'll see beautiful hills starting. You'll find yourself in beautiful hills. See, I've been to a lot of hill stations in India, like Shimla or Uti, both in North India and South India. And still, I found these hills around my place to be really different. One of the reason might be they're very much unexplored. I'm sure most of you who have been to the famous hill stations of India in your childhood, you don't find the same charm now. Might be because a lot of population has increased and pollution has increased there, and people have exploited the beauty a lot. But this is not the case with the hills around my hometown. They are very much clean now. They are not that much explored. You will find the true nature there. The nature is still in their natural state, if I say. And in fact, it's even more beautiful during these winter days, especially if you take a bike ride on this hilly track. You'll see yourself inside the cloud, and this feels really amazing. Feels like you're in a heaven. It's really beautiful. So this is one part of the beautiful thing. But it's not that you always have to travel outside the city to enjoy the hills. Even from within the town, you can see this beautiful hills. So that reminds me of some childhood memories. During my school days, after coming from school, a lot of time it used to happen that I would be climbing up the stairs. So we live in a 3-story building, and on top of that there is a water tank. So I would be sitting on top of the water tank in the evening, and I would be enjoy this amazing view. So if you look around, you will see all green trees all around. And where the green trees end, it starts the blue mountains in all the directions. So the look is very much different from the typical concrete jungle that we see in big cities. It's full of greeneries and full of jungle all around. I find it really beautiful. And this is something which I found a really good way to beat the summer. I used to sit in top of the tank, and I used to feel the cool breeze, and I used to see the sunset. That was my beautiful childhood days. And luckily at the time I didn't have a phone to disturb me, no WhatsApp notification, no email coming continuously. So it was a really peaceful moment for me. Coming to another part of my town, which is really close to my heart, this is my school. So my school, its name is Maharshi Vidya Mandir, and it's situated in the mid of a big ground. So we had a huge campus with huge playground, and outside the campus, there lies huge acres of paddy field, paddy fields all around, and very few houses. So, as I told you, our place is very close to Meghalaya, and it's very close to Cherrapunji, which receives eventually the highest rainfall in the world. So, even we receive huge amount of rainfall. So, during the monsoon times, these paddy fields used to be completely underwater. So, let me describe the view of my school during that time. It used to feel as if it's standing in the mid of island, water in all the directions, and just a narrow pathway which connects it to the main road. It used to feel amazing. I was not a very obedient student during my school days, so quite often I used to be thrown out of the class. So even the punishment I used to enjoy a lot because I would be standing on the veranda and enjoying this beautiful view. I could see water all around, and when the water ends, starts the blue mountain. I think it's quite similar to the picture behind Shreya. I don't know which place is this. Anyways, so just imagine I could enjoy such a beauty without even going to any lake. Just not completing my homework was enough to enjoy that. Coming to another part of my hometown, which is really close to my heart and which I find really beautiful, is the tea garden, the famous tea gardens of Assam. So, how many of you here are tea lovers? Can you raise your hand? So, guys, whenever you take the next sip of the tea, it's very likely that the tea leaves that you use, they're grown in my hometown because we are one of the largest exporter of tea all over the world. Cheers to that. So, tea garden, although it's not considered as a very typical sightseeing place, but I personally feel this is really beautiful. It's really good place to visit. Okay. And especially in this winter season, if you visit, you see the fog all around. And let me tell you how exactly you can really enjoy the tea garden. You keep your phone inside. Just don't look for places where you can click selfies or go live on Insta or something. Just walk through the tea garden. Touch the little and tender tea leaves. Feel the smell and look around. It's beautiful. It's green all around, and you will be under the shade of tall trees. It feels really amazing, and you will be just inside the nature, and this is a wonderful experience. So as I see the timer is already up, so I would like to conclude by saying that this is where some of the few wonderful things that I find in my hometown. And I would request all of you to come to Northeast India sometimes and at least take a day out and visit my hometown. You'll definitely get a beautiful experience. So thank you. Thank you guys. Over to Toastmaster Sumedh.
All right. So while, and this is my observation, my responsibility today is to point out the obvious. I've been given an agenda which I created, and now I just have to say who is coming forth and who is going off the screen. So that's basically my job. But apart from pointing out what the obvious was, let me point out what was not that obvious in that story. So when Toastmaster Hillol was actually speaking about the hills surrounding his town, he was talking about the Tripura hills, the Meghalaya hills, and all the hills. I saw some of the Toastmasters just close their eyes and think that they were there. I saw that, and I realized for that one moment how bad the situation is right now. we have all been put through a pandemic which has avoided has asked us to avoid all travel, and therefore it hurts when something like this happens. But then that was one of the things that I observed. I'll not name names, but almost all of us could feel that way. Okay, so that was the first part of the icebreaker. Coming to the next part, before we go on to the second icebreaker, I'd like to introduce the evaluator for the second icebreaker speech. Toastmaster Fatima, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Sumedh. Today, as part of my roles and responsibilities in this meeting, I would be evaluating Raghav's icebreaker speech. The purpose of the speech is to have Raghav introduce himself to the club and to learn the basic structure of the public speech. There are certain things based on which the speech should be evaluated. As Arjun mentioned earlier, clarity and vocal variety in getting the speech delivered, eye contact and gesture, and the comfortness in delivering the speech to the audience. And the most important thing is the structure of the speech, the way in which the speech is drafted. So with great alacrity, to listen to the Raghav's icebreaker and evaluate a speech, I hand it over to Raghav. Thank you.
Thanks, before he starts, Raghav, let me just introduce you too. So before I let Raghav go ahead with his speech, I just wanted to check with you guys. How many of you think your life has been a journey from one place to another? You have been moving across. It's a journey. How many of you think so? Can we have the hands up? All right, so you people seem to think your life is a journey. Nah, even I do. Anyways, so how many times has this happened that you're sitting, working, and then you space out, thinking about stuff which has happened in the past, right? Is it only me? Come on, guys. So that has happened, right? Basically, what Toastmaster Raghav is going to do is to attempt explaining one of such instances as his icebreaker. So to begin with, let me just introduce the second speaker for today, Toastmaster Raghav. My journey, reminiscence of the past. My journey, reminiscence of the past, Toastmaster Raghav. Say that 3 times.
Thanks, Sumedh. So today I would like to take you all through a trip down the memory lane through my past. So, how many of you are fond of gold? So how many of you like to buy gold or wear gold? Okay. So I'm from a small town called Pradhutur in Andhra Pradesh. So the town is called the City of Gold and also Second Mumbai. That is because it is famous for its gold and cotton industries. Even though I was born in Andhra Pradesh, I didn't get a chance to study there. So since my father was working in Delhi, I had to move to Delhi there, and I studied my kindergarten to first standard there. When I go to my past, I remember that there were some days where I used to go to my school in a rickshaw. I used to wear a monkey cap in a rickshaw and used to go to my school in the chilled winters. There was one thing I was very fond of in the chilled winters. If you all know, like when we breathe in the cold climate, we have a breath come out in the form of smoke. So that was something I was very fond of. I was amused. I was thinking we had some kind of fire in us or some kind of magic that made us breathe fire, breathe smoke. To say in a few words about myself at that age, I was a movie lover and I was a troublesome person. So I was troublesome because I had the bad habit of going around and biting everyone around me. So how many of you had the habit when they were in your childhood? No one? Okay. So I had the habit since when we were in the childhood, we would have this tingling sensation of getting new teeth. So we always like to go around and bite everyone. So I was that kind of person, and everyone used to be annoyed around me. So the main victim of my bite was my grandmom. The minute she knew I was going to come from school, she used to either hide at home or she used to go out and not come back for a couple of hours. But eventually she had to come back home and I was waiting to bite her. Yeah. So I didn't spend much of my time in Delhi. There was a time in second standard where my father got relocated to Muscat, which is the capital city of Oman. So I had to relocate to a completely new country where I had new experiences, a new school, new friends. So we all know in India, so if we take 10 steps from our house, we get all the essentials we require, like clothes, food, whatever it may be. But the Muscat is a place that is known for its deserts. So we always like stay in a remote place. And even for a packet of milk, we had to travel 5 to 10 kilometers in a car to the supermarket. So I was always confined to my home or either my school. And in order to go somewhere else, I definitely need my parents' help. Uh, so coming back to my school, I had got admission into one of the most strict schools in the city. And the most annoying thing about the school was they were very strict about nails, haircut, uniform, ironing your clothes. These are the most annoying things. And apart from this, the most other annoying thing was I had to come back home. The school used to maintain a diary. So they used to write remarks on remarks on remarks in the diary. And the worst part was we had to come back home and get each of the remarks signed by our parents. So when they go through each of the remarks being signed, they used to shout at me for each remark. So that was the day that was almost every day I used to get scoldings. And we also had a part where if someone for a span of 6 months didn't get any remark, they used to get a badge. So I tried my best to get a badge, but that never happened. I used to end up with at least 10 to 15 remarks. So those are some of the annoying things in a new school. And the same way I got introduced to some of the sports activities at school. So before going to that, so how many of you know swimming here? Okay. And how many of you learned swimming through fear? Okay. I'm the only one then. So there was one day where my father took me to a swimming pool to teach me swimming, and I was unwilling to go into the swimming pool. I was very adamant. So he just came back and he just gave me a kick on the back, and I fell in the swimming pool. And to the fear that I was about to drown, I automatically learned swimming and I became a good swimmer after that. And I kicked out my fear about swimming after that. And I was also a good badminton player at my school. I represented my school, and so I still remember the day when I had my trials, my badminton trials, but I had missed the badminton trials, and I'd come the next day. So I was persuading my coach to please allow me for the trials, but he was very adamant since I had missed my initial trials. So the coach at the end he agreed and he called one of his best players to fight with to have a match with me. And he said the person who scores 5 points and who is the winner will be taken in the team and the other person will be removed. So to the coach surprise, I scored 5 points and the other person scored just 1 point. So I was the person who made the position in the team. This was because like I had all my father's training at home. Due to that helped me getting the position in the badminton team. Yeah.
Raghav?
Yes, Srinivasan.
Raghav, sorry, actually the time is around 6 minutes 30 seconds. So I just wanted to give it.
Yeah, I'll finish. I had enjoyed my time in Muscat, so it was kind of a very good experience. So wherever I used to go, there was AC. All like the school was pretty luxurious, and there was nothing for me to like say no about. I used to get everything I wanted. So there was one day where my parents saw an advertisement on the TV saying Narayana rank 1112222. I guess most of the South Indians know this. They're most annoyed about the advertisements about Narayana. So my worst nightmare came true, and I was put into one of the colleges in Bangalore, that is Narayana PU College, and that was the day my whole life went down. There was no proper food. There was no games. All games cut, and I had to only study. So that was some of the worst phase I went through. And so somehow I came out of that, and I got the chance to come into Chennai, where I did my BTech and MTech. And there is when I moved to Bangalore for my job and all. And here is where I stand. So here I would like to end my speech and break the ice by concluding that through all my journey and my experience, it has made me a more stronger person. I had gone through many bad things, good memories, bad memories, and eventually it made me a stronger person. And here I am. Thanks everyone for listening to my speech. And I would like to hand over the stage to Sumedh. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghav. Before we head on to the table topic session, I just wanted to point this out, and this is again me doing the obvious thing. While Toastmaster Raghav was speaking, I just got a flashback of my father telling me that he had to travel 10 kilometers every day to school to gain education, and my grandfather telling me that he did not have, they did not have cars back then, and they used to go on bullock carts and stuff like that. And today, when Toastmaster Raghav mentioned that he had to travel 10 kilometers in a car to get a packet of milk, I realized that we had made one step further in our evolution. So congratulations, all of us. Anyways, moving forward, it is, how many of you have this problem of not being able to think quickly on your feet? Who is going to say that out loud? Anyways, it is a problem that all of us are anxious, and when all of us can be put on spot, and therefore Toastmaster Ram graciously took it upon himself to make sure that we are better equipped and better prepared in such situations. So for the table topic session, I'd like to introduce the table topic master today, Toastmaster Ram. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumedh. Let's move to the next topic on the agenda with alacrity. I'll make the grammarian happy and the timer of the day happy. How many of you have heard of the short story Rikki Tikki Tavi? How many of you have heard of Jungle Book? Anyone knows who the author is?
Rudyard
Stephen
Kipling.
King.
Rudyard Kipling.
Rudyard Kipling. Not many people know that he also wrote poems. One of his poems is The Six Honest Serving Men. For those people who want some tips today to deal with problems with spontaneity, anxiety, I'll try and use that poem as a reminder for a framework that you can use to improve your spontaneous or table topics type of speeches. The trick here, again, for those people who don't need it, feel free to be innovative and work on your own. But for those who'd like some help, you can use that framework. The trick here is you will look at and ask the first statement that you're going to make is to say directly, jump into the topic and get the first sentence done. Once you've done that, think if you can ask the questions who, what, why, which, where, and whom. Each of these will give you a reference or a lead to your next statement in the speech. And if you do that, you will get pretty good at it. It's just one framework for some topics that are amenable to it. For others, you can use your own ways of dealing with things. So again, without much ado, let's jump right into it. I'd like volunteers, please. As is our tradition, people who are not speakers, who are not in a certain role today, are best preferred as volunteers. I'd like a show of hands. Who wants to go first? We have just very few people, but great. Thanks so much, Ajay. If you can unmute yourself. Okay, so the topic for you, a nice simple one, is you're going to start, you can make any kind of speech. The topic is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Start with that and go for it.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder things were different in this new world of ours. We have now entered a new year, and I only wish this year becomes much different from the year that has just gone by. A year where we were all stuck to the four walls of our homes and were itching and craving to step out. And I only hope that this year gives us an opportunity to go out and explore the new cities, the new countries, and probably even the new continents that we were so itching and craving to visit in the year that has just gone by. So twinkle, twinkle, little star, please do fulfill this wish of mine. For this is a wish that everyone in this world right now aspires for. Everyone wants to step out. Everyone wants to get on that flight that we were so wanting to go. There were so many flights all around the world that were canceled, and not a single flight that I could jump on and get to the nearest new city, new country, or new continent. So please grant me that wish and let me travel to the new worlds that I've been wanting to travel to. There are so many countries and so many places that I've visited virtually, and now I want to go there physically and experience them in person. So twinkle, twinkle, little star, please do grant me that one wish. Over to you, Table Topic Master.
Okay, so he set a real high bar by pushing us right into the stars there. We'll take the next volunteer, please. Thank you. All right, Toastmaster Hind. For you, the topic is start speaking. The sentence is I am, fill in the blank, dash years old. Don't use your real age. Make it something else. And then let's have some fun. I am 7 years old. I am 75 years old, and get started.
I am 111 years old. It's been a long life. I wish I could recount all the stories, but if I start doing that, which I can because I have a photographic memory and an unending space. If I start doing that, it will be another year by the time this meeting ends. So I'll just recount one story. It was that time when we did not have cell phones. What about cell phones? We did not have flights. We did not have aeroplanes. Leave aeroplanes. We did not even have workable cars on our streets. I used to live in a village around here. You wouldn't know the name of it because the village is no more a village. It's a city. And the name has changed. It was the time of World War I. All we used to hear was sounds of gunshots, sounds of muzzle shots, or things blowing up. It was a dire time. You lads, you don't know how much better you have the world. You sit on your laptop screens, you enjoy, you have all the information at your hands. For us, we used to travel 30 kilometers on foot, like Sumedh's great grandfather, to get the newspaper, to get some news. What would you guys know? I am 111 years old, and let me tell you that if when you get 111 years old, you would know how surprised I get when I look at the world. That's all from my side. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Next person, another volunteer, please. One. Avinash, thank you. So, start with Mary had a little lamb.
Mary had a little lamb, and well, I don't like that poem. I'll switch to Johnny Johnny yes Papa, eating sugar no Papa, telling lies open your mouth. With the rhymes, well, what remembers me about poems is my niece and nephews, the way they learn, the way they are progressing. I really feel that we are very far from how they are, growing. The fast or the speed or the alacrity with which they are learning, digital world, and they don't like the usual way. When I started looking at my niece learning the alphabets, I was surprised. For us, it was all A, B, C, D. We were told to write it, we wrote it, and we practiced it. But now, no, they don't. They're not doing it the same way. For them, it's sounds like what sounds. It R sound, A sound. The complexity of learning itself is so different. I'm really surprised with the next generation kids. Hope they do best. Thank you.
Toastmaster Srinivasan is giving me constant reminders that with alacrity, I'll have to turn the stage over to the Toastmaster of the day again. Thank you.
Thank you, Table Topics Master Ram, especially for the precise, I think the concise but a detailed explanation of how to tackle situations wherein we have to display impromptu speaking. Before I get on to the evaluation side of things, I would like everyone to take a moment out and vote. Can we have the link up there, please? Thank you, Toastmaster Hen. Please check in and vote for whomever you thought was the best ever topic speaker. Okay, we'll wrap this up in 15 seconds. All right, let's move forward with the evaluations. The prepared speeches part is done and dusted. Now it is about we are about to hear our own evaluations and see where we can do better. So to start off with, let me just bring back or call back the general evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Shreya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumedh. Since I see that we are already running late, let me instantly start with calling the first speech evaluator today, Toastmaster Arjun, to give his report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. It was a great pleasure to hear Hillol's icebreaker, and I congratulate him for completing this path. With that, I would like to begin with the positives that I found in his speech. I really like the fact that he began questions, and that to multiple questions, because that generated a lot of interest in us, amongst us. When he went on to describe his hometown, I could see that the description was pretty crystal clear, the use of adjectives and the way he described each and every detail. He paid a lot of attention to it in his content. Also, I could notice the expressions which he had on his face, and those expressions were translated from the emotions he has for his hometown. So I could see that those emotions were coming on his face. The flow of the speech was also very beautiful because he began with the description of his place, and then he related it with his own personal memories, and then he went on again and took us through a journey. What I felt was that with this good flow, I felt that the ending was a little bit abrupt. Now, it might have been because the timer showed the red card, or your content might have been too long. But I felt that had there been some attention given to the time duration, we would have had a better ending. Because we never know that whether you had more in store for us or not. So that is one point where you can improve upon, which is basically preparing for your speech with content in mind. When it came to the filler words, there was a lot of usage of source. So I feel you can look at your filler and crutch words. You can practice harder and make sure that this does not happen. When it came to looking at the camera, I won't be too strict on you for that, because I sometimes feel you like to look on the screen where you can see everybody's faces. So you might look away from the camera. But yeah, so I wouldn't be so harsh on that. Apart from that, like I said, your emotions are translated on your face, but in your vocal variety, it wasn't there initially. It came up when you were describing the tea garden. I liked your voice modulation when you were describing the tea gardens. So you can play around with your voice throughout. I know it is difficult in descriptive speeches where you have to describe a place. It's difficult to change voices because there aren't any characters or fictional characters involved. But yeah, this is something which you can experiment with. With that, I would like to complete my analysis. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arjun. Without any delay, let's move to the second speech evaluator, Toastmaster Fathima. Please present your evaluation.
Thank you, Shreya. So first of all, congrats, Raghav, on completing your icebreaker speech. So first to tell the good things about your speech. Your flow of speech was natural. You were recollecting events about your past, your childhood life as to what your speech title means. And you started your speech with a question. You also had a couple of other questions to the audience in your speech, keeping it engaged. On the things to be improved, you were actually running overtime. And while delivering a speech, I saw you were just looking up sometimes, which gives a sense to audience that you are thinking of what you're going to tell next. And your speech modulation was consistent, was constant throughout from the beginning till the end. And at the end, when you were concluding, "Here I am," maybe if it was on a different modulation, it would have been very effective and better. And there were usage of so and then, but that's okay. It's our icebreaker speech. Otherwise, a great start, and all the best for your upcoming speeches too in Toastmasters. Thank you, Raghava.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fatima. Let's move on to the tag team evaluation. First, let me call upon the timer, Toastmaster Srinivasan, to present his findings today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. So here comes today's dreaded timer report. So initially we started the meeting at 4:01 p.m., which is quite impressive. Congrats to everyone who came on time, and really appreciate your alacrity in attending the meeting on time. Thank you so much. So the initial role taker speeches were mostly on time. I was tracking them by writing, and actually all the role takers did a very good job and splendid job. So pat on your backs. Um, Moving on, we went to the first evaluation and the first speaker icebreaker speeches by Hillol and also Raghav. So first of all, congrats to both of you and welcome to Toastmasters. We embrace you with open arms. And yeah, it is absolutely fine that the time went over. But again, as it was my duty, I had to unfortunately interrupt Raghav. I'm really sorry for that. Hopefully, we learn from this and move on. And a special mention to Table Topics Master Ram. He actually was really dynamic, and I really would like to call out. His initial allocation of time was 15 minutes, but due to the unforeseen circumstances, he did a splendid job on keeping the whole PTM even to 8 minutes and 40 seconds, which is really impressive. So special claps for him. And even the table topic speeches were within time. Everyone completed within 2 minutes. And finally, with respect to the evaluation also, since the overall time was, we kind of extended it. So the evaluations also were spot on, and congrats to everyone. So with that, I would like to conclude my timer report, and hopefully the next meeting will be even better. Over to you, Toastmaster Shreya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinivasan, for that comprehensive report with this lacquer. Actually, I don't know what that verb form of that word is, so I'll just give up on that. But thank you, Toastmaster Srinivasan, for a quick report. Now let's move on to the next evaluator, Toastmaster Navjot, to present his AhCounter report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. Today, everyone was majority of the speaker were really good with respect to the use of crutch words. I will go on in the sequence. Hind used 4 crutch words, 4 ums, 1 filler word and 3 repetitions. Sumedh used 6 and ums, 1 filler word so and 3 repetitions. Shreya used 4 r's and ums and no filler words, no repetitions. Srinivasan used 12 r's and ums, no filler words, no repetition. Hillol, first of all, congrats for your icebreaker speech. You used 3 r's and ums and 6 filler words, no repetitions. And congrats to Raghav too for his icebreaker speech. You used 8 r's and ums and 12 filler words. You used filler words like so and like, and there were 2 repetitions for you. And some of the best performers of the day were Ram and Ajay. I really appreciate your brilliant speech. So congrats on that. And for the table topic speakers, Avinash was also really good. 1 hour and 1 filler word, you know. So that's all from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Shreya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Navjot. Without any delay, let's go to the last member of the tag team, the Grammarian Phil, to present his report. Over to you, Phil.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. So starting with the Sergeant at Arms, I thought his whole speech was excellent. And moving on to those that weren't me. So I've picked up on a few bits. Hind, you used the phrase to ask to yourselves, which would just be to ask yourselves, I think. Sumedh, we had made one step further in our evolution. It didn't quite scan right for me, but you did have a really nice turn of phrase, graciously took it upon himself. You do use some beautiful language. Similarly, Shreya used the phrase path to betterment. I really like that. The AhCounter, Navjot, you use the phrase with the minimal uses of, and I think that would be perhaps better as something like minimizing usage of. Arjun, I couldn't find any real problems with. Ram, again, very excellent. No problems that I could see at all. Fatima, you used the expression comfortness in delivering the speech, and that would just be comfort in delivering the speech. Let's see. Hillol, when you started off with your questions, you said anybody who has heard of as the start of the question. I think that would be better expressed as who here has, or has anybody heard of. Having said that, your speech was beautiful and evocative. I suspect I could have picked up on other things, but I was too busy listening to what you actually had to say. And Raghav, again, near the beginning of your speech, we have a breeze come out would be our breath comes out as in the plural. The table topic speakers were generally excellent. Ajay, I think I picked up one thing, which is you said aspires for as opposed to aspires to. And Hind, we had sounds of gunshot. And I think if you're pluralizing the sounds, then you would have to pluralize gunshots as well, so that it would be sounds of gunshots, or you could even say sound of gunshots. And finally, Avinash, they are not doing it the same way, would be they no longer do it the same way. And word of the day usage, excellent across the board. Lots and lots of people used it. Again, I have to call out Ram, who managed to squeeze it in twice. And that ends my report. Thank you so much, Shreya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Phil. Now that everyone is done with their report, I think I have a few points that I can give. I think first I'll start with the speeches and then I'll go to some common points. With both the icebreakers today, there are 3 things that I have to say in common. The first thing is amazing delivery, guys. It really did not seem like the both of you were giving a speech for the first time. I don't know if you practiced 100 times or it's just your natural good delivery people, but really kudos on that, the both of you. Great job. It did not sound like this was your icebreaker. The second thing that applies to both of you, and this is a point of improvement, your time. I know this is the first speech, and that's why how you measure time when you're talking, actually, you're not able, you haven't grasped that yet. But which is why I suggest that when you're practicing, actually put a timer next to you and time your speeches during your practice. I think this will help you as you give speeches further on to get a sense of time when you're talking to an audience as well. That is another point of improvement. And the next point of improvement for the both of you is that transitions could have been smoother between different parts of your speeches. Hillol, when you were talking about you started talking about how beautiful the place that you're from is, and then you mentioned one childhood incident, and then you moved to the second childhood incident. I feel that there could have been better transitions between each part of your speech, and maybe that is something you could work on. The same applies to you as well, Raghav. You started with talking, I mean, you spoke a bit about badminton, after which you spoke a bit about, you spoke a bit about swimming, after which you spoke a bit about badminton. I think there could have been better connectors between the both, saying that I spent my childhood doing various things such as, and then, you could have connectors that way. This is about your speeches. Again, I think that's all that I have to about Hillol. About Raghav, one more thing that I noticed was that your tenses were getting muddled up throughout your speech. So in the beginning, you would, if you're talking about the past, there were points where you were using the present simple tense, so the present continuous tense. So you could maybe take a look at that some more and refine that for the next speeches. Apart from that, great job, both of you. Coming to the table topics, again, I don't have anything specific for each of you, but all 3 of you, it really did not sound like you were giving impromptu speeches as well. I'm not sure if the club has gone that ahead or what it is, but it sounded like you were very fluent with, all 3 of you were very fluent with your speeches. I could not spot any grammatical mistakes, and my ears always first catch grammatical mistakes of all. So great job, all 3 of you on that front. Now let me talk about some common things about the meeting. Some good things is that how we have caught up on time throughout. We started on time. That was amazing. By the end of both the speeches, we were, I think, 12 or 13 minutes late. And right now, I believe that we might be only 2 or 3 minutes late, if I'm not wrong. So I think excellent job for whoever has followed. We've been dynamic to ensure that we are on time. And that's a great team effort. Secondly, I loved the evaluation today because everyone not only told about what they evaluated, but they also spoke about what could be better. And most of all, they pointed out the things that were done really good by people. They pointed out the best in the meeting. And I think that is really encouraging. So great job. Things that we can improve on. I think the transfer of roles can be smoother. There was confusion on handing over of roles at multiple points today. So people, when you take up a role, you enter the meeting, please keep in mind who you take off from and who you give it to. And this is another important point. We do not interrupt speeches. And I very strongly feel for this that we should not be interrupting speeches. I mean, of course, we can have a discussion about this at some point, but I think it interrupts the flow of the speech. So I would not suggest us doing that. And the last point I have, and this is an innate grammarian in me, usage of anyways. Anyways is not a word. Anyway is the word. There is no S there. And I will keep bringing this in every meeting as an evaluator if I can. That's all I had today. I hope that the evaluation panel was very helpful to you guys. Thank you. And back to you, Toastmaster Sumedh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. Anyway, let's move on. All right, let's have the links, please, for the contest. The voting links are up. I request all of you to go ahead and vote. All right, Toastmaster Srinivasan, can we have 30 more seconds on this, please? It seems like we have received all the responses, and I'll be therefore handing it over to the presiding officer to go ahead, announce the winners, close the meet, and if time permits, also let our area director speak a few kind words. I hope they are kind. Anyways, thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Hind.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Sumedh Nadendia. I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm sorry if I did not. I resonate a lot with what Shreya said. Amazing effort by everybody, especially Ram. A huge shout out for squeezing in 3 speakers in your short span of 8 minutes. That was very amazing. And I would like to extend my apology on behalf of the whole club to Sumedh, because I'm pretty sure you might have had some content, but that could not come out. I am extremely sorry on behalf of the whole club for that. The rest of the club, let us try to be more aware of the time. And I would like to maybe reiterate what Shreya said for further emphasis. Whenever you are practicing something, whenever there is something that you have to deliver, you are a prepared speaker or some other prepared role, do time yourself. Do understand that whenever you could have written beautiful content, but if it goes for 15 minutes, that is something that we do not encourage here. The reason that we do not encourage is because effective speaking is not just about being very eloquent, it's also being about on time and effective in the stipulated time. No more sermons from my side. I would like to go ahead and announce the winners and do post welcome our area director whom I would hand over after announcing the our winners for today. So first of all, the table topics, although there were only 3 speakers, I highly doubt that there is any doubt in anybody's mind who the winner for today's table topic session is. Any guesses in the house? It is the man who asked for so many wishes from the start, and I hope he gets some. Our table topic winner is Ajay. Next up, we have the best speaker, and I guess the amazing shout outs to our time savior really translated into votes. Our best speaker of the day is table topic master Ram. Next up, we have the best evaluator, and I guess our best evaluator won only because she took the most amount of time, and that is Toastmaster Shreya. Congratulations, Toastmaster Shreya. I was kidding. It is definitely not because you took the most amount of time. In the spirit of keeping our meeting further within the limits, I will not ask any of the winner to come forth and thank their parents or God. I will just hand it over to Toastmaster Ajay to close off the meeting as our area director. And please, Ajay, take over.
Thank you, Hind. OIC is always a meeting that I look forward to coming to. One, because every time I come in, I always see a beautiful twist coming into the table topics. And yesterday, Ram, you really amazed me. I mean, that was a brilliant twist to the whole table topics, and that was really well done. I really liked it. The meeting flow was as well was completely well done, right from beginning till the end. The timer did a brilliant job at prompting and showing everyone and helping everyone maintain the time. So yeah, all in all, I'd like to say it was an excellent meeting. I loved being here, and I'll definitely present my report later on. With that, yeah, I'd like to end my speech and keep it short and crisp, and look forward to coming back for your table topics and ISC speech contest. Thank you. Back to you, Hind.
Jai Alakriti. Let's close it off.